What is up, guys, and welcome to my channel. This is outofworkbum. I'm here in my undisclosed location where it is legal to distill moonshine, and today I'm going to run my still, and it's going to be this is a pear mash that I had made quite a while back. It's still good. We're gonna siphon this down into the still pot. This is going to be my little indoor still. I believe it's 4 gallon, and this is a 5 gallon cowboy, I think they call this. And to siphon this off, we're going to try to get this hose about to here, so we're not gonna get all this residue and chunks and stuff into our still, because that's going to end up burning. So we're going to start off putting this in slow, try to see where it is in the bottle, and then we're going to do this. So you want your bottom, you want the vessel it's going into to be lower than the vessel above. I watched on that Alaskan Frontier the other day. They were making mead, and they were trying to siphon into the bottle, and they were having a real hard time doing it because they were doing it backwards. So this is how you do it. You can do this with your mouth because you're going to boil this off anyways, so it's not a big deal. So all right, so this pear mash it's considered wine at this point. You could rack it and bottle it and do what you would do to make wine at this point. I'm gonna say I don't have the right equipment to know for sure, but this is probably in the area of maybe 12 to 15%, which it's a high alcohol wine, because I use the Red Deity, the Red Star yeast, which is a brewer's yeast. If you were to use bread yeast with this, you would get much less alcohol content. So we get this flowing. We're going to make sure we don't suck up the bottom stuff. So I'll come back and save you this boring part here. You don't have to see this, but again, you're just making sure that the hose the hose that's inside the mash is not going to be down into the chunks at the bottom. That's what your main concern is. And you don't want any kinks or anything that'll stop it from flowing. And you definitely don't want to spill it, because this is valuable stuff here. If you'll notice the color coming out, it's got a little bit of a pinkish tan to it, pinkish color. And once we get that through the still, it's going to end up coming out clear. So I'll save you this boring part, and I'll come back when we're all set up. Alright, so we're going to put the lid on here. In this particular batch, I'm going to use my thump keg. With this kit, I like this kit a lot, and I'm going to put the link in the description because a lot of people have asked me about it. I like it. It's good for these little batches here, and it gives you a little bit of... it's small enough where you can experiment with everything, and it's not... you're not really, out that much if you make a bad batch. So with this here, this one came with a thump keg. It's undersized for the amount that's in here, but it still works okay. I always save the tails from my past batches, and with a thump keg you can use it to flavor the mash that you're making now. So if I wanted to make like a raspberry or whatever, then I would add a raspberry type of flavor to that. But whatever you do, you need to have alcohol in here. So I use my tails from the last batch that I made, and I try to... this is pear, so this is from the last batch that I made of pear. And in order to give it a little flavor, it doesn't give it a lot, but I'm going to use this leftover mash that still has a lot of solids in it, but it's not the very bottom where all the dead yeast and everything is. So it's kind of like the middle of the road stuff. So I'm going to fill this up here with my tails, which has alcohol, and I don't know what the proofs are on it, but it's got alcohol in it. And then the leftover mash, the little bit of mash that I have here that's not terrible, as far as solids can go in here, and that also has alcohol in it. So in essence, what I'm doing is a double distillation. Sorry, I'm in the camera angle there. You always want to leave a little bit of headspace. That's in order to relieve the pressure, but you need to have it below the, you can't have, you have to have the liquid up higher than the intake. So basically this doesn't get heated from the stove, so there's no chance of scorching the solids that are in this. It gets heated by the steam coming out of the still, which boils this back up, which double distills it out so the alcohol comes out through the worm. So I'll get it all set up from here, but I just wanted to show you that. Again, it's a nice little setup for indoors. I have a big outdoor one that requires an all-day setup with fire and all that stuff. But this one here I like doing, especially in the winter. It's snowing out today. It's, this little run here of 5 gallons, 4 or 5 gallons, should take me a couple of hours, and it should come out with some good tasty stuff. So I'll go ahead and get this set up, and then I'll come back to you. All right, here we go. So everything's all set up in true out of work bum fashion. We're doing everything the wrong way, but we're gonna make it work. So luckily my son threw a snowball at the window and broke the screen in the kitchen, so I could run my hose through the kitchen window from the outside spigot, and we're running the hose to the top of the worm. So that we're going to leave that on as a trickle. So you want that just coming out so that it keeps that water cold, because this worm will end up getting hot. So I end up using a piece of metal just to, in this situation I'm using a pie cutter or whatever it is, to keep my hose from melting against the worm here. So we have the water constantly going in here, and then when it hits this top part here, inside there's a hole, and that's what's draining back out into the sink, like that. So if I was to do this right, I would have an attachment on my sink, and this hose that is up here tied to nothing would be the inside. It would be the intake water going in, and then this water would come out like it is. But since I don't have the right attachment for my sink, I have to use the garden hose technique, and as usual, we'll just adapt, improvise, overcome, do all that stuff, whatever they say there. I think that's an army motto. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. Everything works like this. Doesn't look pretty, but it works. So we have the back spout here, which unfortunately it's in a place that doesn't make a great camera angle, but we'll make that work as well. And so we're going to skip over this and we're going to start. So we have the main mash in the big jug. We're going to boil that up, and we're going to wait until that gets to the right temperatures. And once that hits the right temperatures, it's going to make a steam. It's going to come down here into the thump keg, which is going to boil off that the liquid in the thump keg and create a different set of steam, which is going to come up here through here. Oops, I missed my finger here. Come up through here and come down here into what's called the worm, and the cold water will instantly cool that steam vapor into a liquid, which will come out back here into a jar, and that will be the alcohol. So go ahead and get all this stuff in motion, and I will come back and show you when that happens. Alright, so we're getting close to 200 degrees on the main pot. You can hear the thump keg thumping away. And I'm going to start touching this stuff here to see. It's not getting cold yet. I mean, not getting hot yet. So we got a while before it starts coming out. But what we need to do is make sure that this does not come over. I like to keep it around 200. Definitely below 205, so between like 175 and 200 would be the optimal temperature for me to keep it at. That's what seems to produce the best usually. I guess it depends on the mash and everything. But I have a new stove, so it's going to take me a minute to figure it out. I just don't want to get it. You don't want it boiling. That's the main thing. So as long as it's not boiling, you're going to get the steam. Looks like I have a small leak over here, but it shouldn't be a big deal. None of this is really pressurized, super high. It's not like a pressure cooker or anything, but we're getting there. And as soon as we start feeling this starting to get hot, then we'll know we have some steam coming, and we'll be ready to go. All right, so we have our first couple of drops here. Everything's good. Got the water in here staying nice and cool, and this is hot going in, so that's how you turn it from the vapor to a liquid. And it should start spurting out more steadily in a little bit. So these are called the 4 shots, and this is the part that you want to toss. This is the bad stuff. This is stuff that they say will make you go blind, and it's got all the bad chemicals in it. I guess they call it the 4 shots is because they would throw away the first 4 shots. So I will throw away probably about half of that jar. I guess that's a pint jar. So I'll wait till it gets about halfway up, and I'll taste it and make sure it starts tasting good. But I'd rather be safe than sorry and throw away the first half. So that is that. So once we throw the 4 shots away, we'll start getting into the good stuff. Alright, so now we're running good here. Ran into a little bit of a problem. You see that pink stuff here. The thump keg, I must have filled it up a little too high, and that's got a little chunky. Got some of the mash ran through the worm. So I seem to have got that cleared out, which it won't make a big deal. I can either redistill that, or I can throw it in with my tails or whatever. And then this is the first bit of 4 shots that I'm going to throw away. I don't throw it away. I keep it. So I make sure I label it into a jar that's, into something that I don't drink by accident, or nobody drinks by accident. Use that good. That's good for fire starter, or if you need to clean something off with alcohol. That makes for good stuff there. But it looks like we've got it cleared up, and it should start coming out a little bit better now. So we're keeping the still right around just under 200. I did run into a small leak, so just use flour and water to paste that up. That comes out. That usually seals everything up. And put a little toothpick in there. It makes it run out a little bit easier. Sometimes, for whatever reason, this still tends to run backwards, and I end up making a mess all over the counter. So I use a little cardboard to tilt it forward, and then usually the toothpick helps. But today nothing's working out for me today. So, but so far it tastes really good. It's really strong. I don't know what it's going to proof out at, but it's numbing my tongue. You just put your finger in there and put it in your tongue, and you have instant Novocaine. So we'll see how much we get out of this, and we'll come back and show you the final results. At this point now, it's just a slow process. You can break this up into portions and then blend it the way you like. This is going to be something I'm probably going to flavor with juices or something anyway, so I'm not really worried about getting like the hearts and I'm not really worried about mixing it and blending it. So I'm gonna probably keep most of this together and age it, and then make some kind of a like a peach cobbler type of drink with that. But we'll see how it comes out, and I'll come back when we're finished. All right, guys, 6 hours later, and this is what we're left with. So this is what I ended up with out of a 5-gallon mash. I got, these are the tails, so these are going to go back into here, and I'll use that in the thump tank next time. This is the heads, and this is actually really good. I think it's pretty high alcohol content. This is the hearts, and what I'm going to do with this here is put it into make a peach cobbler with it. And then this here is the mistakes. So I believe what happened was having the mash in here, the excess mash mixed in with the tails of the other stuff. I believe that it ended up boiling over, and some of these particles ended up coming up through the worm and causing it to be a little bit chunky at the bottom, changing the color. So what I'm going to do is filter that as is. It's tasty, but it doesn't look that good. So I'm just going to run that through some coffee filters and drink that as is. But just cut it down, proof it down. But otherwise, this is how it all turns out. So that 5-gallon mash makes about this much. Then you're going to cut it and proof it, and you can extend this and, you know, build it out to whatever you want it to. But that's about what you'd expect to get out of a 5-gallon mash. The recipe for this peach mash is the same as I did do a video on a peach mash a few months ago. So this is the second time I've tried this one, and it's pretty good. It's not peach, it's pear. Did I say peach? I think I said peach, but it's pear, and it's the second time I've done this one, and I do like the way it comes out. It's subtle, it's nice. You can't really tell it's pear, but it's a nice flavor. So what I'm working on for the next video is a cornmeal moonshine whiskey. With this and cracked corn, and I believe there's some sugar in it and some other stuff. So I'm working on trying to work that recipe down to a 5-gallon size, and we can try that together in my next video. Especially now that I have my 5-gallon jug here is empty and ready to go. So everything's pretty cut and dry. That's how you run the still. It's pretty easy. There's, you know, still some things we're learning and as we go along, but I do like this little still. A couple things I don't like about it. I don't understand why these have to be put up on blocks, because for whatever reason it's too they don't give you enough hose or whatever it is for it. So I don't like that, and I don't like the way that you have to tilt this pot forward, or else all the alcohol seems to run back down here, and so you get a lot of spillage. If I move this, you'll see all the spillage down there on the counter. But other than that, for the price, it's pretty good still. It's nice indoor, it's safe. You're not, you know, not risking blowing your kitchen up, I don't think. But that's about it. So if you have any questions, let me know. If you see things that I did blatantly wrong, let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.